Ladies and gents, PepperBelly here, finally bringing you guys something I've been looking forward to immensely, and that is the tech preview for Ground Branch. The last few days for me have actually been a nostalgia trip, because I ended up downloading Rainbow Six 1, Ghost Recon 1, Conflict Desert Storm, and played pretty much all those games, plus some Rainbow Six 3 Raven Shield. I even played Rainbow Six 3 Black Arrow on the Xbox. I even played Rainbow Six Lone Wolf on the PlayStation 1. I went on a crazy old school streak of playing tactical shooters, even Spec Ops on PlayStation 1, those games. All of them. I was just sitting down and playing good old fashioned tactical shooters, dreaming what a next generation tactical shooter would look like. And I can tell you for a fact, it looks like Ground Branch, and it's amazing. Alright, playing it, I downloaded it this morning, I was messing around with it, playing it extensively, kind of figuring things out, and holy crap, guys. It's like, I can cry with happiness. Alright, I can go full man-child and just weep with utter happiness with how this game looks. And this is just a tech preview. This is like, you can read it. If you guys have been reading any of this stuff, which you should have, when I was talking, basically it's like what Ground Branch tech preview is and what it isn't. And what it isn't is a demo of Ground Branch. That will be coming in the near future. It's not a representation of the final quality of Ground Branch. Thank God, because there's some things that obviously aren't quite up to snuff, and a display of actual gameplay. Things will change. This is a tech preview. This is like this is like before alpha. Alpha would be coming out after this, and early access will be starting up with Ground Branch at some point in the near future. So, without further ado, instead of just babbling on about all this useless crap, I'm actually going to start showing you the game and walking you through the demonstration of some of the things that blow my mind with this game. So, here are the default movement and shooting controls and keybinds. I ended up changing mine to feel the way to something I prefer. So what's displayed here doesn't change. This is default. What does change is if you come here into controls and you actually rebind what you want, and they have fancy options here. So it's like, say you want to make so leaning is either hold it or not holding it, etc. So it's like momentary toggle, lean left. It's like there's different options. Eventually you're actually going to be able to go into the scripts and change it to exactly what you want. So, for example, what I would want in this scenario is the ability to double tap to hold, or double tap to toggle, I mean, and then hold it down just to hold the lean. So that way I can like rapidly choose whatever is more convenient for the moment, because sometimes I like just to hold out and lean, peek quickly and move. But if I want to lean while moving around consistently, I double tap it usually, and that's, so I'll be able to set up a script for that later on when the game is actually like more fleshed out, which will be freaking awesome. One thing I noticed immediately about setting keybinds though, once you change the keybind, you go back to general, your sensitivity, even though it's still set to whatever you have, will change. So you have to reset it every single time you change your keybind, otherwise the sensitivity resets itself. Anyway, so then you got your graphics options, which are pretty simple. Full screen, 1080p. You can change the smooth frame rate if you desire to have that on. You can go to graphics, change it from epic to near or medium far, whatever, depending on what you want, low, medium, high, etc. Audio is standardized. So let's go ahead and load a map now. We're going to go ahead and check out the shooting range because, you know, why not? Or maybe, you know what, we're going to go to the close quarter range first. And like I was just like, mission, shoot around. We will do that extensively. Okay, so we're loaded in here, and you can tell I'm walking around. You're like, but where is your weapon? I'll tell you where it is. In the low ready. Like in real life, which is insanely awesome. So I have it so that I just bring up my sights using my right mouse button versus the middle mouse button, which is default. And you can toggle between each sight. So what I ended up doing here, actually, this is an ACOG, so I can actually go ahead and show you that by going to the customize operator screen. This is my operator. He looks cool, I guess. I can show you actually what it's like to customize him. So you can see, I can choose arm patches. Here you can choose your head, so if you want him to be a black male or a white male, you could choose. Shirt, you could pick either the Alpha shirt or the Bravo shirt. You can see one just has the sleeves rolled up. You could choose what kind of camo you want for it, etc. You got ACU, Woodland. For some reason, the texture's not loading in. It seems to there you go. See, now it worked. All right, cool. So for me, I wanted to be tan and black because hell yeah, mercenary operator style. No camo needed because yeah, whatever. Anyway, so then you can choose your pants, same thing. You got your Bravo pants, which just is like, looks like jeans if you have the denim, or you can do ACU, black, etc. Alpha pants, ACU, black. You get the idea. So you can choose your colors. Then you can go to loadout. Actually, wait, here's another thing I didn't even talk about. Your gloves, if you don't have gloves on, then they will like disappear and you'll have invisible hands, which was kind of weird at first. So I thought that was just a symptom of the fact that it's a tech preview and doesn't represent the final quality of the game. However, it's actually just because you don't have gloves equipped. So once you equip them, your hands will show up and it'll show you the nice fancy reload animations and all that good stuff. So we got custom, this is my custom loadout anyway, that's what I have. Loadout, you can go here and you can customize. You can see like, you can click either here at the bottom, or you can actually click directly on it. So you can choose like a wide variety of hats, baseball cap, boonie hat, just a toque, or a watch cap, standard army issue helmet, or these special ops helmets. You can choose whichever one you want. And again, you can choose the skins, which is fantastic, either black, green. Anyway, so yeah, you can choose that, or you can just have none, and you know, rock a friggin' high and tight haircut if you want. This is actually just clean shaved on. Sort of high and tight. Anyway, whatever. It's completely irrelevant. Boonie hat, and of course you could choose your glasses too. So you can either have like sunglasses, which are like tactical ballistic glasses, or you can have actual, you know, ballistic goggles, and you can choose the color of these as well. So, kind of great. And then this, you can have a balaclava. So you can just be like, hell yeah, why not? Hide my identity, because it's cool, and then change the color of that as well. So, that is that. Of course you could choose your skin for your vest, your tack vest, whichever one you decide to have. And then of course your pistol, you can customize your secondary and your primary and whatever. You can go here and edit it. So we'll show you the customization for your pistol. So it's very simple. There's not very much you could choose. You can choose ammo types. I don't see how this really affects anything right now. I think this is just kind of like, obviously when the game is released, when it's actually completed, you'll see a difference there. Muzzle, other, there's nothing, right? So, and you go to your primary, and this is where things get interesting, because there's a lot of stuff you can actually do here. So, as you can see, you have the AK-74, and you have the M4 that are available to you, and then you have the MP5N, which is like a sexy-ass submachine gun. Like, hell yeah. I actually love these weapons. Shotgun, you got nothing, and of course you got the MK1, or MK12. Well, hang on. There you go. Which is like a designated marksman rifle, which is fantastic. You can even choose like what magazines you want. So you have the 20-round magazine, or you can have the 30-round magazine. And then no light machine guns. But all this stuff obviously can be more weapons. Right now, it's important to say that the animations for reloading every single one of these weapons is identical. So the animation that's only in the game right now for reloading is the M4's reloading animation. So there, even if you have an AK, you're not going to be pulling the cocking handle back on the right side like you would expect, or you wouldn't be pressing the release here for the magazine. It's pretty much like the bolt release on the left side, and it's exactly the same as the M4 on every weapon. Obviously, by the time the game is actually out, everything will be completely different and changed, and will be working out nicely and look pretty good. But at this point, we're just going to use the M4 for demonstration purposes, because it's the one that's the most fleshed out. So you can choose your ammo type. You got full metal jacket, jacketed hollow point, and subsonic, which I think is friggin' sweet. You have subsonic rounds, which I think is going to be very useful when you have a suppressor on it. At the moment, suppressors are unrealistically quiet, which I'll demonstrate in a second, because it makes no sense how quiet they are. Like, it's actually crazy. Anyway, so you can choose your sights. You got an ACOG 4 times, which you can just click on it and drag it there. There you go. Or you can have the ACOG 6 times, which is cool because it has a rail mount on top, and you can do fun things like adding a small reflex sight to the top of it, like that, which is what I had. So it allows customization in that respect, or you can put like a regular reflex, which just, or you can go absolutely fucking crazy and just do this and be like, yeah, tactical, super operator to the extreme, and then just like slay things. That looks ridiculous. And the thing is, it actually works. Like if I accept this, I can go in the game and it's like, hey, I can toggle between super insane, like what was it, 8 times magnification and the ACOG, which is just, it's like, look at this, like, oh yeah, no, let's not forget the free look. You have free look like in Arma 3. It reminds me so much of Arma 3. Even looking down, your character looks a lot like Arma 3, which is sweet. Except, yeah, you just saw a glimpse of that. Yeah, what is that? What was that? You look at your freaking fire selector switch and you can scroll through it, or you can just hit the fire select switch button and you can actually choose what you want. So you can check this way, which is friggin' sweet, guys. Like, little things like that is what makes games like tactical shooters really something to marvel at. So let's go ahead and customize this again, change the sight back to something more realistic that isn't as obnoxious as this. So we'll put, I suppose, actually we'll remove both of these. And you can even put backup iron sights, which are just the flip sights basically, which are nice. You know, you can just zoom in. So what happens is you're always in the low ready by default, and you can actually toggle the low ready. So if I go in third person here to demonstrate it, you can see I am, you know, in the low ready. Let's actually reorient myself so I'm aiming straight. Okay. So first of all, the animations are amazing. I'll talk about that in a second when I demonstrate it. So low ready. If I scroll up, he'll toggle between the low ready high. If I scroll down, it'll be low ready low. So this is ideal for close quarter engagements. This is ideal for long range engagements, walking out, basically advancing the contact out in the field. This is how you're going to be traditionally. You come into contact, you raise your sight, you fire off some rounds, and then you lower it, whatever. And then this is like, you know, if I'm close quarters. Typically in close quarters, you're not going to be doing this unless you're like right behind someone and you don't want to shoot him in the back. That's the only time you would raise this, say like when entering a room. For example, if I can find the right... Yeah, so if I'm going to be entering a room, I'd be behind someone, and then come around the corner, and then bring up the sight, you know, that kind of thing. Which is sweet. The animations are fucking amazing, guys. Like, this is a really early iteration, but you can even see just now, like, how ridiculously good. Apparently this was all mocapped, which is, like, good. I mean, for an indie developer with 2 people working on the game right now, yeah, keep that in mind, guys. There's 2 people working on the game. This is using Unreal Engine 4. They swapped to it. This game has been in development for like 7 to 8 years, although I have not been waiting that long for it, because I only heard about it when Takedown Red Saber was announced during the Kickstarter. You can see that it's super, like, the animations are fucking amazing. So much attention to detail. For example, bring up my sight like this. Alright, let's just get closer. Okay. This blew my mind when I saw this, and man, guys, I can't even explain to you how awesome the attention to detail is in this game. So I'm here, you can see the ejection ports closed on the left side of the weapon. If I zoom in to like use my iron sight, so you can see that I'm point shooting at this point. If I zoom in, the sight moves in line with my eye. You can see it's perfectly lined up with my eye, the pupil, and if I zoom out, it's point shooting again. And then what that looks like in first person, point shooting, iron sight. So it's like, you can just see little things like that, that show off the game, you know, like what, so you can, if you're looking at another person, you can see what they're doing, you know, it's like everything is perfectly represented. And if I fire off the round, ejection port opens. Now, of course, there isn't like details on the bolt actually rocking back and forth, it's like super fast. You would see the bolt actually rocking, and there is a slight movement, but it's not like 100% there to show off, like, you know, what it would actually look like if you were firing rounds. Now, one thing I want to talk about is tactical reloads and speed reloads. It's amazing. Alright, and what they did in this game is something I think that is actually really well designed outside of what like most games would do. So instead of the game handling it for you, so traditionally it'd be like this. I just fired a whole bunch of rounds, right? I still have rounds in my magazine, so I'm going to conduct a reload. What's it going to be? It's going to be a full reload. It takes the mag out, places it in his mag pouch, grabs another one, inserts it. And the game would automatically handle this for you. However, if I switch to fully automatic, it just empty my magazine. Then it would be a tactical reload, just drops the magazine to the ground, inserts a new one, hits the bolt release. Now here's the kicker that's pretty friggin' sweet. That is left up to the player. You have no choice whatsoever. What I just did right there, if you want to do a full reload, you hold down the reload button. Again, the option is customizable. You can either make it so you double tap it, or you hold it, and you just tap it to do a tactical reload. You can just keep dropping mags, even if they have rounds in them, if you so desire. If you're in the heat of conflict and you absolutely need to get a fresh magazine in, and you're not too concerned about the fact that you're going to be wasting maybe 2 or 3 or 5 rounds in your magazine, like, screw it. You're in a firefight, drop that mag, swap out. Like, it's not a big deal, which is... I mean, they give you the option to choose how you want to reload, whether you want to be faster for a firefight, or if you want to conduct a full reload to conserve those rounds and place them back in your mag pouch. Insane attention to detail, guys. That's something I absolutely love. Here's another thing that blew my mind, alright? I go here, I can make sure that it's on semi. Attention to detail. This is what, like, guys, this game is just, like, not a final representation, and it's doing a fucking excellent job of showing what a tactical shooter is going to be like in the future. So if I'm sitting here, and I'm firing off my rounds, right? Cool. I can do a tactical reload. There's still a round in the chamber. We all know that, right? So if I put in a fresh magazine, I have 31 rounds now. Unless you're like a Marine and you put 28 rounds in your magazine, then you'll have 29. Point is, there's always one in the chamber. So if I'm firing off rounds, put a new mag in, he inserts it, good to go. However, if I pull out my magazine, fire off the action, one round will expend. And when he puts in the new one, he will hit the bolt release. And I'll demonstrate that right now. So I'll fire off some rounds, then I'll reload, fire off a round, and then he hits the bolt release. So it's like if I'm in the middle of combat and I'm shooting, and then suddenly I'm like reloading, oh shit, I could fire off a round theoretically, and then keep engaging when my new magazine goes in. Once I hit the bolt release. Little things like that. It's like, holy shit, guys. Like, my mind is blown from, like, the attention to detail in that regard. And here's something that I thoroughly enjoy. There's different moving speeds, obviously. You're not going to just be walking around everywhere. You can actually go into third person, which is another cool thing, and bring it from low ready to shoulder fire. Anyway, so there's running, right? This is like the tactical pace. As you can see from the crosshair in third person, the muzzle moves a lot, depending on the direction of movement. If I'm walking perfectly straight, it moves side to side, not too much. If I strafe to the right, it's virtually the same because, honestly, the way you walk, if you actually do this in real life, you'll see that walking right, if you're a right-handed individual and you're walking right, the muzzle trajectory does not change that much, like when, you know, walking straight or right. However, if you strafe left, that's when you'll see your friggin' muzzle just go insane. Same with if you're just strafing left, it kind of settles down, but if I'm moving and strafing left, you'll see that the muzzle is moving significantly more, which is realistic, guys, because when you're moving left like that, your stability is severely affected because you're trying to aim off your right shoulder versus moving right where you can kind of tuck it in and feel closer to your weapon. Moving left, you're trying to aim to the left by stretching your weapon out to the right, which obviously puts strain on your body, making it less stable. Like that, it's just insane attention to detail. If I'm walking, it moves, but it's pretty accurate. I start running, you can see the sway is insane, meaning ideally you're not going to want to engage in this type of scenario. Moving to the right, this is kind of like if I'm, you know, advancing, I could, you know, suppress. If I strafe left, then my sight it's just everywhere. So don't strafe left, guys. Think about that. Unless you're a left-handed shooter, then obviously it would be the opposite. You know, this is kind of just like I'm moving, I'm suppressing. If I'm like advancing to contact or something, I could reload. Whatever, you know. So much attention to detail in that. Now, of course, there is no like recoil system in the game yet, so don't expect to be like experiencing what it feels like. Hang on, where is it? To fire fully automatic with consequence. That's not in the game yet. As you can see, I could just put in a fresh magazine and just laser hose that one spot. Because there's no recoil yet. If you're actually aiming down sights, then yes, to a degree. Still needs some work, but ultimately it's amazing. Point shooting is actually a viable thing because you can just bring up your sight and engage targets, which is sweet. Point shooting actually feels viable, and I like that. And the fact that you move, which, honestly, if the developers of Interstellar Marines happen to watch this video, which I hope they do, take some pointers. The consequence of moving at a running pace should look like this. It should be severely affected. I mean, this may be a little bit too much because it is possible to move this quickly if you shuffle your feet the right way to reduce the amount of sway. But typically, this is what it looks like when you're actually running that fast, especially over rough terrain. That's another thing I'm going to show you guys. So if I load into a new map, we'll go to the actual nature area to demonstrate. So here I am, actually outside in the wilderness. Now, one thing I noticed, which is insanely awesome, depending on the terrain, it affects how much your weapon will move. So if I'm running, you can see it's like I'm running over not so rough terrain. It's, you know, not moving too much. And there's an area I found that actually like demonstrated this perfectly. But if I start walking through water, you'll see it's like kind of a little bit tighter. and then it goes back out to being super wide. You can see there. And there was a spot, I can't remember where it was. Anyway, it's like a certain area where basically if you kind of like walked over it, it would make the sway a little bit heavier. A little bit more exaggerated. So like, remember how I was talking about in my old Interstellar Marines video, how I would like to see a game at some point in the future be able to replicate walking over rougher terrain, making the sway more intense. Like it would be, you know, if I'm stepping over it and I'm unbalanced, obviously I'm going to be moving significantly more, right? My sight's not going to be perfectly straight. There's a helicopter somewhere. I can hear it. Where are you? Oh, there you are. With invisible rotors. Because, hell yeah. They're spinning so fast you can't see them at all. But yeah, that also brings up the idea, or the other thing I was mentioning. Because you can see, look at that, guys, my feet. This is something I didn't even notice. I just stepped into the water at like knee deep, and I step out of it, and up to my knees is wet. Everything else is dry. Kind of like real life, right? It's kind of great. So I don't think they have prone implemented yet. Prone is a thing in this game, but you can't really quite do that yet. So you can see I'm toggling here, my knee. So when I'm crouching down like this, I'm point shooting. It's in the point shooting stance. If I actually aim down my sights, it brings up the it brings my knee to the ground for stability. Now I'm shooting in the proper stance. You can see there's recoil, everything's affected, tactical reload. Or that was a speed reload, sorry. This is a tactical reload. Tactical reloads when you retain your magazine, speed reloads when you're just like, screw it, I need a new magazine in, and you just do that. Drop your mag, insert a new one. So as you can see, lots and lots of attention to detail. Little things like that. Of course, you got night vision, which I don't think you could see until I'm in first person. It's super bright, so I'm not going to do that. If I actually switched it to nighttime, then, you know, that'd be an ideal thing. One more thing. I don't think it's one more thing. It's like, I might just start remembering things as I go along, because there's so much that I was like, oh my god, I should write all this down and talk about it. But, of course, that didn't happen. So, we're gonna switch to a designated marksman rifle, DMR. Marksman, here we go. We'll slap 30-round magazine on it, because why not? Actually, I'll demonstrate the quietness of the suppressor as well, which is like a little bit unrealistic. But anyway, see, I'm remembering things like going like the flashlight. I gotta try to remember to talk about that. Which, if I have the flashlight on it, maybe I'll remember. So, I hopefully will not forget. So you can actually put like a foregrip on it, or a bipod. You can put the laser system. You can actually choose what side you want it to go on, which is great. So, I don't know how you open the bipod. I haven't really quite figured that out. You can also put a flashlight on the, you know, you can customize. You can actually put things on the rails wherever you want. And of course, you can go to your sights and you can equip the 10 times magnified scope. So, we're gonna go with this for now. And we're gonna just, oh yeah, you can sprint. I didn't really talk about that. So shift is like to walk, or to run. The tactical page is to run forward. And then control is actually to sprint. So it's kind of like what my default, it's funny because like, I set these controls up in Takedown Red Saber a while back to be just like this, and they pretty much did it by default in this game, even though, like, in Takedown, that's not how the controls default are. By the way, never buy that game. It's terrible. This game, you're going to want to support, like, fully. Based off of what I'm seeing here, guys, and what I'm experiencing, like, this is what you want to support. So, I'm going to fire off around, like, 100 meters. You can't even hear that. Like, you're not, it's like literally a whisper. It's like, no. If I had subsonic rounds, maybe, but even then, the action, you don't hear the weapon action at all. It's just like a little whistle thing, which again, not entirely realistic. Early adaptation of this though, so expect it to change in the future, obviously, by the time this game is actually complete. That's more like it, so now you can hear it. Pretty sure this thing only has semi-automatic. Yeah, you can't change it. Here's another attention to detail, which I absolutely love. So you come to the range, you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to engage things from, like, really far away. Here's the binoculars set up for spotting with the screen basically synced with it, so you can see in real time your rounds hitting the target. So if I bring up my sight, and you can see I'm aiming at I believe it's a 200 meter mark. If I hit Alt and I can look at it, actually I'm going to move a little bit so I can see the screen better. That's 300 meters, I believe. That's 200 meters. Now, also that, you can see the scope fades out depending on where you move. Also the 3D scopes, first of all, only the sight's magnified, nothing else around you is. Little things like that. Kind of follows Insurgency and Red Orchestra in that respect, which is perfect in my mind. So you can see I'm aiming at the target. There is bullet drop, although not significant. Like, see, I'm aiming at the very top of his head. If I pull a trigger, you see the round hit roughly center mass. See that? And you can actually see it in real time, hitting the target right there. A little puff of smoke, target goes down. 3 shots. Little things like that, guys. It's crazy. Crazy. Like, I'm super ecstatic about this game. Like, you have no idea. I've been waiting for this for quite some time. I was literally playing those tactical shooters the other day because this tech demo was somewhat expected to come out yesterday on Thursday, but it did not. So I was depressed and played old school tactical shooters for a long time and was sleeping and hoping to God this game would come out so I could try it. And, well, here it is. And it's fucking glorious, guys. Like, holy shit. The potential. This is a tech preview. Has nothing to do with what the game will look like in the end. This is just a couple of maps you can load into and experience. So, one thing I want to talk about too, if I bring my weapon up and I go back to the point shooting, turn on my flashlight. I don't know if it's actually going to show with this one. No, it's not. Okay. You can see that the light isn't shining on the... Hang on, I gotta swap out my weapon for this actually. And I'll actually change the map. So we'll go to a nighttime map because I want to demonstrate. Go to the nature area. We'll set it to night. Create it. Here we are. Use P, which you can't rebind for some reason, to switch to night vision. And you can look around. Actually, I'm going to change my weapon again. I'll switch it to the M4. We'll just put a simple holographic on it this time. Muzzles, keep it the same. Now, one thing I also noticed, if I put a foregrip on it, for example, like that, and I put a tack light, accept it, and I bring up my sight, he's not holding the... Oh, it is bright. He's not holding the foregrip, so if I go in, like, third person, you can see it's like... He's still gripping the mag housing. Which, obviously, by the time the game's actually released, that'll be rectified, so, you know, keep that in mind. Another thing, if I'm holding Alt and I'm looking around, so I can, like, if I'm in the low, or in the point shooting stance, just aim it with a weapon on my shoulder, obviously I can look at the select the lever and choose, right? And if I look, it says, like, press none to swap, to change this. I don't even, like, use none and none to change. It doesn't recognize the key binding I have, so that leaves a lot to be desired when you're looking at the sight here. Because apparently you can turn night vision on and off. How do you do that? I don't know. I don't know if it's available right now, because press none and none to toggle NVG mode for the EOTech holographic sight, which would be awesome. You can change the brightness level of it too by just holding Alt and looking at it and scrolling up and down. So if I turn off my night vision and I'm looking at it, you see, I can adjust the brightness of it depending on the type of day. So say like it's nighttime, I don't need it to be super bright. I can have it at like roughly 1. During the day, you'd want to max it out during 20, depending on the brightness, because 20 obviously starts to obscure and get blurry, as you can see. If you want precision, you can just dim it down to like 1 in low light conditions. Or you can switch it to NVG mode, which I wish I knew how to do. Oh, there you go. Okay, you just click on it. Holy shit. So you just left click. You just look at it and left click like you're going to pull a trigger, and there you go. And if I zoom in with NVGs, I guess it's not gonna work. You still can't see, obviously, in NVGs. Again, I'm not really using the EOTech. I actually have no idea if you can see the reticle through NVGs. That's something that I actually don't know. But you can see, you can just toggle it to night vision, which is just sick. Like, the sounds, the audio, the light detail is phenomenal. If I zoom in and I bring up my sight, you can't really see anything being casted right now. But if I go into third person, or even this, now you can see that shadows are actually like casted off of flashlights, which Interstellar Marines does too. A lot of other games do it as well. But that's something that I think is really important with flashlights. Like I don't understand games where you have a flashlight, like a light source. SWAT, for example, SWAT 4 doesn't do it. If I shine a light on here, there won't be a shadow casting. If I move back and forth, you won't see a difference. Now, as you can see on my character, at the very tip of my weapon, the light is actually illuminating the very end of the muzzle. And if I turn you can see the shadow actually represents that. It's showing the muzzle on the ground, or on the tree trunk right now. And you can see it being represented in the game world. Which, to me, is just freaking awesome. You can see it's right there. If I go into third person, you can see it's represented on the ground. Like, come on. That is freaking awesome. Which leads me to think there's something else I might be able to do. Hang on a second. Again, I'm kind of like, although I kind of did stuff and I figured this out relatively, like most of the stuff, I'm still trying to experiment with things. So that's the laser system. I'm curious if it actually works with my NVGs. So if I turn on NVGs, okay, apparently not. I don't think it does. Go in the first person, I can't adjust it or anything. Turn night vision mode on. Yeah, no, I can't. Oh, see, the light actually blinds you a bit. The lightning. So yeah, I guess you can't adjust it, really. Can't turn on the laser system, it seems. But whatever, you know, that will be a functioning item by the time the game is actually released. I gotta, like, remember to adjust that at some point. I probably gotta set it up so that when I press R... Actually, I don't even know. It's not ideal. I was just gonna say, like, press R to, like, do a tactical reload and hold to do a speed reload, but that makes no sense, because, right, you want to hold it down, which is more time consuming, which is natural. But if I'm in a combat situation, I'm like, oh shit, I'm engaging targets, and I want to, like, you know, speed reload, you just input a new mag. So, that is the game in a nutshell. Pretty amazing. I mean, again, this is a tech preview. There is a lot to be desired by the time the game releases completely. But holy shit, ladies and gents. Is this ever beautiful of a demonstration? Like, it's near perfection. And this is, like, nowhere near being completed. This game has a long way to... has a long way to go. And in its current state right now, it is incredibly promising. I have not seen a game like this ever. Like, this is quite literally what the next generation of tactical shooters should look like. Which is just fucking great. Alright, like, I am super ecstatic about that. Like the hands, like, don't shoot! I am white silhouette of human. And I just tactical reloaded. Or speed reloaded. That's like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop, like... I mean, I was demonstrating this earlier, I wish I would've, like, took a picture or something, but I had magazines everywhere, because you have unlimited ammo for this tech preview, right? I just kept reloading, and there was, like, there's fucking... It was pretty much the ground was black, guys. I was messing around for, like, a good 2 or 3 hours just playing this, experimenting with everything, and by the time I was done, there was a pile of magazines everywhere. I was just speed reloading all the time. And one thing I love doing right here, this took me back to, like, my times in the Canadian Forces when I was out in Meaford. We literally, like, did point shooting techniques. So we weren't aiming down our sights, we were point shooting. And we were engaging targets at pretty much this range. Why can I not switch it? Hang on. There we go. Full auto. And you would start off, and it's awesome because you can actually do it. You could be, like, in the low ready. And you would walk. And then they would say, they would yell, like, threat, and you bring it up and you just engage the targets. Typically, you're supposed to be firing, like, 5-round bursts at each target. Like, expending your magazine, essentially. So you'd be, like, walking, and then just be like, threat. And you just engage into point shooting. And that's what you would do. A throwback to my time in the CF. Like, the fact that I can actually do it in this game, and it feels relatively like how it actually does, you know? The fact that I can actually walk around in the low ready, and bring up my weapon, engage targets... Just emptied my mag. Put in a new mag. Oh yeah, leaning. That's one thing I haven't talked about. You can lean, ladies and gents. Leaning is a possible thing, as you can see. Leaning while walking is a possible thing. It's just... Come on. Oh, I hit the civilian. There we go. Probably shouldn't point shoot at a threat that's behind a civilian. Not a wise idea, but I like point shooting. What can I say? When you get really good at it to the point where you can like just instinctually just, you know, bring up a weapon pretty much like that and just sink targets down without even aiming down your weapon sight. Like it's such a satisfying feeling. Of course, you can reload while you're in the low ready as well. Animation looks a little wonky, as you can see. I'm guessing that'll be rectified if you put it in the high ready. Same thing. You can reload as well. So it's like, it's sick. One thing I've noticed that I wasn't particularly like fond of though is the fact that like if you stop and you do a full lean, so like say we're doing the room clearing, right? And I'm coming around the corner here and I want to check if there's targets. Typically it wouldn't just round the corner, although you can do that. But depending on how, like in the Canadian Forces, the standard you're trained at the very beginning, like for CQB room clearing, is you're trained to like peek it, like walk, peek, and lean. So you're like, you kind of just do this, and then peek, and do this again, and then peek, and you see a target, put it down, keep peeking, and that's how you would do it. Which, I mean, it works, and you can do it in this game like pretty well, right? You can lean all the way out, but I mean, how I typically do it, and what I've always done is I just lean while walking, and then just come around the corner. And if I saw a target, like if I was lean walking, because I mean, the idea of walk, lean, walk, you know, it's like, come on, just lean and move at the same, and then, you know, engage whatever's there, and then come around the corner, and then you're good to go. But as you can see, if I'm stationary and I lean, he'll have the full lean, so the radius is complete. If I start moving, you'll see it kind of brings me in a little bit. You can view it in third person pretty well, actually. If I'm here and I lean, it's all the way out, right? But if I start walking, you'll see the lean's a little bit closer. And then I can lean all the way out again. Which to me is kind of, one thing, it kind of bothered me, because I think that if I lean all the way out and I walk, and it kind of brings my lean up again, if I stop walking, it should automatically go all the way out again. But it doesn't. But again, not really that big of a deal. It's just something I thought about. And what was the last thing I wanted to talk about? Oh yeah, collision. Weapon collision. Yes. Why isn't this not a very normal thing in games? In fact, you can actually, I think, what button is it? Where is it? There was a key for this. I mean, that's just... Man, I can't even find it now, which is kind of annoying. Or maybe it's only visible in first person? Yeah. Wow, it's actually bugging me. There is a key for this. You can even go in slow-mo. For demonstration purposes. You can be like, I want to see how the animations look in slow motion. See, the footwork is solid. Look at that. Phenomenal animations for footwork. Transitioning, like, holy shit, guys. When have you ever seen a game have so accurate foot movements? Look at that. And this is like the first iteration. Like, things are gonna, like, holy fuck. And this is all mocapped. And then, of course, I can go back to real time. And then you can see it. It's like, the attention to detail there is insane. As I've been saying throughout this entire video, because it is true. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. How well this freaking game looks. See that? I can even, like, fire it off at the very last minute and it'll still hit it. I'm gonna, like, literally fire right when it's, like, about to empty. Or he's about to put the new mag in and see if he still does it. So if I'm sitting here, switch camera angle to something closer. Oh, I got, ooh. Your lips look so subtle. Or supple. Anyway, so, fire off a round, reload, wait till last minute. He'll still kind of hit it. See? It's impressive. really. Like, I'm so happy right now that this game is a real thing. That it's happening, and it's so damn close. It's so close. So close, ladies and gents. So, I think the best thing to mention at this point, the tech preview is completely free. So you can download this preview off of their website and their store for free. It hasn't been like officially announced because apparently there's some like issues with the store and whatnot. But for the most part, it's available. Ah, shit. Also, the rounds originate from the barrel, so as you can see if I come here, I can't like do this bullshit like, I could see around the corner so I could fire, right? If I could see what's there, I could, but you can't really shoot at it because kind of does the Arma 3 crosshair thing where it shows you like, no, this is where you're aiming. You can't just, you know, if I lean, then yes. But even then, you know, it's awesome. Like, kudos to the dev team. They have done a fucking staggeringly amazing, phenomenal job with this. Like, it's just, oh god. I mean, one thing I would love to see, because of all the attention to detail they've done with retractable stocks, I would love to be able to see the ability to shorten and lengthen the stocks for CQB purposes. So it's like, say you're out in longer range or you're in the prone and you want to like not have the sight so close to your face. Maybe you can adjust the stock, pull it more away, you know, like just little things like that. Like if they actually added something to that extent, it's not necessary, but I mean, it, like, my god, the option would just be like amazing. You know, have that ability would just be like crazy. And the other thing I love about this is there's no like artificial zoom. So it's like, you know, I'm just aiming through my sight. It's magnified. If I'm not, it's just like aiming through the actual sight. There's no like Call of Duty style or even Arma has the ability to like aim through your sight. Let's see if I can hit this target. There we go. Even Arma has the ability to like bring up the sight and then hold it down and it'll like zoom in a little bit so you can see. Which gives more visual acuity, but at the same time, it's not entirely realistic. But anyway, I digress. This is the game. You can even go in the Arma 3 style third person. Got no crosshair in this position though. Trying to like watch my splash. There we go. Feeling like a pro. In the position and lean. Hell yeah. This game is awesome. Go download it. Links in the description. Try it out. See yourself. See, look, you can already see the magazines piling up. Now imagine like 3 or 4 hours of this. This is like a 42-minute long video. Sorry for taking up a lot of time, but holy shit, guys, I am fucking ecstatic about this game. So, go to the website, check it out, voice your opinions on the forum, share the love, just let everybody know that a true tactical shooter, reminiscent of good old-fashioned Rainbow Six titles, focusing heavily on realism, is in the works, and is shaping up to be just fucking beautiful. My name's been PepperBelly, thank you guys for joining me today, and I will see you guys on the next one.